Hi, thanks for joining me today. We are going to tour one of my very own islands. This is Seabreeze, and it's my 5th completed island, fully themed. Today's island is Kidcore themed, and I'm calling it sunny, bright, warm Kidcore. I tried to make sure the colors were primary, but with a little bit of a soft touch, so everything looks a little bit elevated and a little bit warmer and a little bit more adult and premium in some ways. So here we are at the entrance. You can see it's pretty natural. We have some waterfalls, a stream, and then you start to see some of the color choices come in. Lots of white, yellow, red, and then the greens and browns of nature. If you continue on down this path, you'll see that you kind of come to the first major area of the island, which has this road going through it, a dirt road. And we've already come to our first resident. This is Mason. And right over here to the left, you can see resident services is connected. It's kind of right going through this little road right here. As always forgetting to look at the map, so we're going to pull that open. 2 residents on this island, myself, character Kayla, and the second character Mason. And then it was really fun picking out Kidcore villagers, usually having ones that had a little bit more color to them or sort of a fun costuming, like Mira up there's got her superhero costume on. And then I made quite a few codes for this island. You can see we're cycling through them all right here, but lots of different patterns that you'll see on blankets and pillows and couches and stuff throughout the build, as well as a couple of flowers or sort of ground details, and then some specialty signage for the pool, a toy store, a carnival. So feel free to download any of those if they match your theme. And we'll head over to the left of resident services here. You can see that road continues on. There's lots of natural terraforming on the island. Nook's Cranny is kept pretty simple with just a bunch of boxes and like a candy machine out front. And this road is almost like the business district. So here we have a toy store right next to Nook's Cranny. This is a big panel build I did. And then to the left, we have even further, we have the museum. So kept this pretty classic, like a museum. Just added some, red touches to the outside, signage and some benches. Really simple, but something you might go to on a field trip when you were a kid. And then as you pull off the road here, we have a little dog park hidden back here. So I feel like kids always love dogs and pets, so had a little place where they could come and play with their favorite animals. And then we're back onto that main road. So you can see we have kind of a mixture of paths, like more of a worn dirt path, and then that more structured road with the sidewalks and the crossing signals and everything like that. Here's the first villager home we're gonna go see. And this is Jacob's house. And he has kind of like the ultimate kid bedroom. He has like this castle sort of like built into his house that's like, or built into his room that's a little bit of a like a playroom area. So his theme is kind of more just like toys and a little bit of imagination play. You can see in all the villager homes that that same primary color palette is pulled through. Reds, yellows, blues. And the path kind of meanders along the river here, and then we come to our next big build, which is a carnival. This one's obviously pretty fun for kids. You've got games, rides, candy, prizes. And this area is kind of fun because there's so many elements that have motion to it, with like the Nintendo spinning coins and all the rides. And then it's kind of along the beach here, so it's kind of like a boardwalk carnival, and just on the beach here we have some simple sitting areas. So if you got a fun snack from the carnival, maybe you'd come down here and grab a table and sit down, you know. You put your teddy bear that you won down or whatever and have your giant pretzel. And then this is kind of funny to have on the beach, but I wanted to fit this in somewhere, and it was one of the last builds I did, so it's like a little bit of a bathroom area for like if you're at the carnival with, you know, classic outhouses and stuff. But I thought it was kind of fun, just the colors that all these items came in. It turned into kind of a fun mini build for me. And then here's where we have the dock, and I made this just kind of a little fishing area. So there's like a little blue tarp on the ground, you got your bucket with bait in it, and then you can kind of just sit here and fish away. So following this little path behind the carnival, we have another villager home. This is Mira's. And then here we're running into the main resident, which is my character. We're visiting this in the dream address, so we got to interact with both residents. And overall, I kept the beaches pretty simple for most of this, just a little bit of landscaping here and there to pull you along to the bigger areas. And for the peninsula, you can see we have a little bit of terraforming with a lighthouse, and then we have just sort of like this fun picnic zone. So there's like a little board game, some toys, a record player going, a jar of cookies. And then if you keep going, this is where we have the campground. It's kind of tucked back here in the back corner. So kept it really like a classic campground, like something you might go camping with your family with when you're kids. You got the fire, you know, ukulele, you got lunch set out here. So really just kind of a standard little camping setup. And it's kind of right next to this little waterfall area that leads into a stream and a bigger lake that the campground is next to right here. pulling up that map to show how big that lake is that the campground is right next to there. And behind the toy store and the museum area, we have a little villager neighborhood. I had fun making these 3 houses because I made them each sort of the same white color, but they each have their set color for the roof and the door. So we have yellow, blue, and red all together in a line. And then as you can see, Able Sisters is kind of tucked back here above Nook's Cranny. So it all connects back to that sort of business district road area we saw. So we'll backtrack here and go into the villager's house. I think this is Henry. And he's our sports guy. So you can see he's got, you know, baseball stuff, a soccer ball, a ping pong table. He's got a bunch of trophies. He's got some jerseys on the wall. Every villager, I made them have sort of a different special interest, something that a kid would be into. So Henry's really into sports. Jacob, who we saw earlier, is kind of like into toys and maybe like castles and knights and stuff like that. And you'll see a few other villagers and how they each have their own sort of individual personality, like kids' personality. And back behind here we have our next big build, which is the apple orchard. I've got apple trees all over the island. The red obviously works really well with the theme. But there's something about apples that screams kids extra much. And then back here we just have a little bit of a lookup point tucked behind the villagers' houses. So there's that lake to the left with the campsite you can barely see. And then behind their house, they have sort of a little secret entrance to like a little fishing spot. There's a little dock back here with another fishing pole. All right, so back to the apple orchard. Had fun making this with all the red items. And then on the left here you have kind of almost a little stand where you can get some apple juice and a pie, have a little picnic with sort of apple products, apple themed confections. And then tucked behind the apple orchard is, of course, an apple juice factory. I had a lot of fun building this. I thought it was kind of a fun idea for a Kidcore island to sort of have a juice factory, something that connected to like something kids are always drinking, but maybe in a little bit more of a fun, creative way. So I like the idea that they're making their own juice, you know, right from the orchard here on the island. And it was fun to use the primary swatch of those big gears that turn in the red, yellow, and blue. It's kind of I never thought I'd have to use those in that colorway, but this is the perfect application for it. Right, and then the next big build here is sort of a playground, a park. There's a couple items that the game has that are a little bit more park orientated, like the jungle gym and the sandbox, but I find those color swatches to be a little garish. They're not really following the softer tones I was able to kind of curate for this island, so I was a little bit more creative in the items I used. You can see in the middle here, I kind of made this big interactive play castle. So if you go to like a really cool playground, everybody has like a really cool playground from their childhood that was like castle shaped or it had a big rocket ship in the middle. So that was kind of the feeling I wanted to bring here. Like it had this really cool castle in the middle and you could go into it and run through it and climb up it to a second level. And then you got the horse springies and then these big mushrooms. So the idea is like, oh, if you were a kid, you could like climb up on these mushrooms. And then stuff like just, you know, the benches and a little water fountain and whatnot. So great, and then if we go to the left, this might be my favorite part of the island, and that is the box fort. I feel like as kids, we all loved making forts, whether it was a tree fort, a pillow fort, a box fort. It's just like the ultimate kid thing. It's like pure imagination. And I found some really great codes from a creator. You can find all my creator codes on my Instagram highlights, but they had these great cardboard codes and I had to make the ultimate box fort. And even finding a great use for like the cardboard sofa here was so fun because it's kind of a little bit hard to use in a lot of themes, but it was perfect for this. So it's just this idea that like the kids are, you know, they got their tools, their paint, they got all these boxes laying around and they're just making this giant fun box fort. And it's actually a 3-story box fort, so you get to climb up the ladder and now you're kind of on like the second floor. Adding fun touches like, you know, the siren, it's almost like, oh, like keep out, you have to have the password or something. I feel like kids having a telescope is always like a classic thing in a tree fort. And then up on the 3rd level, it's kind of like this secret hang zone. So there's like a couch and there's actually a TV and some video games. So it's like the ultimate clubhouse here, hidden in the box fort. And if you keep coming over, just a little more stuff sort of in this big area that you might come play in with your friends. A little hammock where you can sit down and rest. And then back here we have sort of an outdoor movie theater. So you got your snacks, your popcorn, you got your blankets and pillows set out so you can kind of come out here and watch movies with your friends outside. And then over here on the beach, we have sort of a little like fire on the beach, a little campfire, maybe at night, hang out with your friends here. And when you come over this bridge, you come to the other half of that road that we started the tour on. So now we're on the right side of the island, and you can see over here we have a big soccer field. Obviously playing sports, whether it's on a team or pickup games with your friends, is kind of a big part of childhood. And Animal Crossing has some really great soccer items, so this was a really fun build. I love that the field is like got some dirt patches and maybe a little bit of weeds here and there because it's just like sort of your local soccer field that you go to have fun with your friends at. And if you meander down this way, we have a little ice cream shop off to the left here. Obviously, as a kid, you love your sugary treats, so gotta work some of that into the island. And then we have the pool at the bottom here. I loved pools as a kid, I still love them as an adult, so gotta have a fun place to go swim with your friends. This one's kind of giving a classic public pool feeling with the sort of white tile around the side and the lifeguard stand. And that's nestled right next to the right side beaches here. So kind of continuing on the fun sort of swimming area with sort of some more beachfront. So whether you want to swim in the pool or in the ocean, there's plenty of fun stuff down here. You can play volleyball. Little places to, lay out your blanket and your towels in the sand, eat some snacks, read a fun magazine. Okay, and then next to the soccer field is one of our bigger builds, and it's a school. Now, whether you like school as a kid or not, it's undeniably a very kid experience, which is going to school. So I had a lot of fun building this up with one of the resident houses, and then some panel builds, and kind of making this courtyard, which is where maybe you'd, meet up with your friends before school, before heading inside together. And then just showing you that we are back on the right side of resident services here. And then this is the path we came down in the beginning of the video that leads to the airport entrance. So the school is actually pretty close to the airport and resident services. You can see there's that those scattered papers on the ground with the OK Motors design on it. I was originally going to use the OK Motors sign as sort of that middle where the clock is in the courtyard, but I kind of like the clock better, so I ended up just using someone else's creator code of that logo to be sort of like the school logo. So maybe their, you know, mascot is some sort of little bird, but it's you can see on the walls here even it's kind of a little bit scattered all over the place. So that's sort of the school logo. And this first room here is sort of a hallway and a washroom combined. So I loved adding this kind of funny little washroom over here. You got, you know, your sinks and a garbage, and you got your own little water closet, cubicles over there, lockers, benches. And then our first room on the left here is the cafeteria. Obviously lunchtime is a pretty fun time when you're a kid. So you can see that you got tables with all the various foods kind of scattered about, some vending machines, your classic hot lunch line, and sort of the big garbage can where you gotta go dump all your stuff at the end. Right back to the main hallway. And our next room is the library. This one was fun to build, even in this tiny room space. I think I was able to, you know, fit in everything that's classic at a like elementary school library. You have the little bit smaller kids zone with the picture books and maybe like some fun pillows where you can kind of listen to your teacher tell a story. You've got bigger bookshelves where maybe the older kids might get their books from. You've got a study table. And then you've got your classic little computer lab in the corner there with the big printer. And then the last room on the main floor here is an auditorium. I feel like especially when you're a kid, you're always, you know, you're doing these plays and they're never very good, but you have a lot of fun doing them. So I made this little auditorium and sort of set up a set with some of the fake trees and a sword and the wishing well, and made it seem like kind of the kids were in the middle of like rehearsing for their big spring play or something. So this room was pretty fun to build. Of course, you got the classic red curtain. And then we'll go upstairs. And you can't have a school without a classroom. So that's what we have up here. Pretty standard classroom. Everybody's got their desks. You can see there's some classic things like the class fish. There's a globe. The teacher has an apple up by the front there, by the chalkboard. And then in the back we have a little bit more bookshelves and stuff, and a little bit more of a like sort of reading zone. I feel like when you're in elementary school, there's always a little bit of an area of the classroom that's for more like playtime or story time. And it's a little bit comfier. It's not all just filled with desks. And then finally we have the basement, and down here is where we have the gymnasium. This is another sort of fun, I feel like more of a fun time for kids in elementary school is gym class. So here we've got, you know, the basketball court, we've got like a climbing wall, and some other, you know, miscellaneous gym equipment. But this was another fun build. Obviously throughout the school you can see all of the same red, blues, lots of yellows. I try to keep everything really warm and sunny. Alright, we'll say goodbye to the school day for now. And if we make our way back to the entrance and go to the left here, we didn't go this way earlier, so you can see there's kind of a lot of terraforming here along this little river up to another waterfall. And here we have some more villager homes. The river continues over here to the river mouth. And then this is connecting back to an area we've already been to. The dog park and the carnival are over there. This is Bea's house. She's not home right now. I do love that exterior though. That yellow door with the circle cut is just perfect for this type of island. And if we go onto the beach, we have a couple more villager houses here. And they're more beach themed. You can see they even sort of have like a shared deck, where we have, you know, kind of a fun place to hang out or play ping pong with your friends here right on the beach. And this villager is Cube, the penguin. His kid interest is trains. So you see he's got a big train set. Even his couch over there is like a train seat, which I thought was a fun touch. He's got a little model train there up on his dresser. I picked the bunk beds that had like a lot of metal. They kind of are styled like a little bit more industrial. So I felt like it all just kind of, there wasn't a ton of train items, but I feel like it kind of came together for him still. And then the other villager that I have on the beach is Weber the duck. So I put our two more like aquatic villagers in these beach houses here. We're just gonna backtrack through some area we've already been so we can get to the last sort of quadrant of the island we haven't explored yet. So if you come up the steps near the school, that's how you get back to this playground area that we already looked at. And this leads us to our last little neighborhood area. So up here we have two villager houses. They're a little bit more organically laid out. And we're gonna visit Opal here. Now I'll be honest, Opal doesn't really fit the vibe of the villagers. She was from my last island and I could not get her to leave, so eventually I just had to publish with her on it. And I actually do love Opal, but she just doesn't quite fit the vibe, but that's okay. We made her special interest cars, and I actually do love how her room turned out. She's got the racetrack. You can see she's like maybe working on a model car over there. She has the classic red Corvette bed. And her room is just like really fun. But it was kind of a bummer. I couldn't get my 10th villager to be really on theme, but it happens. I love the little whoopee cushion in this villager's yard. I think it's Piper, if I'm not mistaken. And Piper's special interest is dress up. I feel like this is a really fun one for kids. So she's got, you know, like a little vanity setup where she can, play with makeup or her hair. And then she's got all these costumes and stuff. She's got a little changing booth here in the back. She's got all these fun costumes up on the wall, including, a racer, sort of Robin Hood, a superhero outfit. Then her bed is just kind of like tucked behind there, behind that wall, but everything else in her house is like, I want to play dress up and, play pretend all these different characters. Right, and then the last little spot we have to look at is the other primary residence, which is my character's house. You can see she's got like a fun little yard out here. She's got a little inflatable pool, a deck with a grill going, somewhere to invite your friends over to have some fun snacks and play in the pool. And then just a simple little house. So nothing crazy here, just sort of tucked back here in the neighborhood with some friends. And this house is just themed kind of like a character's house, like somewhere you would actually live, but everything is like very like kid-centric. So the main room here is sort of the main living room and kitchen. And I was actually able to fit a lot in here. I was surprised. We have this nice little like sort of study desk area. I love the apple chair with the cloud rug. It's like just so whimsical, just like fun stuff. You have a little bit of a like sitting area with like a puzzle. They've got a pet hamster. And then in the back left, we have sort of a little bit of a reading zone. And then on the right side, here's a kitchen. And even the details of like having some like pancakes on the counter and some apple juice. It's like, oh, we're always doing whatever you want here. Kids love pancakes. And maybe they made them for themselves in this cute little colorful kitchen. And the first room off to the right is a craft room. So as a kid, I loved drawing and painting and doing little craft projects. I know lots of kids love this, so here's a whole room dedicated to it. And I love how messy it is, There's clay, there's paint, there's paper all over the floor. There's like a little sink and an easel and this big sort of dresser full of all sorts of art supplies, fun stuff in there. So overall, I just think this is like a super fun room. And I was finding with the Kidcore theme, I was able to use a lot of furniture or swatches that I haven't used in any of other of my builds. So even though this isn't really my aesthetic, I had so much fun building this island, and it's really fun to do a theme that lets you use items you don't always get to use. All right, our next room back here is a music room. As a kid, I didn't love music class. I wasn't very good at it, but I always think it's fun to like when you got to play different instruments or like, if you were in band for this first time, this is like, I think pretty classic kid stuff. Like they have fun doing this kind of stuff. So this room is just full of every instrument a kid might want. And there's, fun albums on the walls, fun picking out all the albums that sort of match the color theme. But yeah, just kind of a fun place to jam with your friends. The only thing with the Kidcore is there's not that many red, blue, or yellow wallpapers I've found. I was having to kind of creatively mix and match ones over and over again to really keep within the tonal palette I was setting for the whole island, but overall I was able to get it done. And here we have a bathroom. I don't often put bathrooms in my houses, but it was kind of fun to make a Kidcore one. I feel like brushing your teeth and bath time is such like core kid memories. So I tried to make this bathroom a little bit more fun. And then we'll go upstairs, and you'll see in a second here that this is a bedroom. And I feel like this is like a bedroom I would have loved as a kid. It's got like bunk beds over here on the left. This is sort of more the functional zone. You've got your dresser and some bunk beds. So if you had a friend stay over, they could go sleep in that one on top of your desk. There's all these stuffed animals. It's really cozy. And then on the right side is just like this big play area. So you've got a bunch of toys and stuff and this big comfy rug. And you can just play up here all day long. And then I even included a little closet. We had some extra room, so I thought this was fun, you know. And I got to use some of the swatches of these clothing racks that I don't use very often because they're so colorful. I feel like this bedroom is just plucked right out of the Toy Story movie. And then our last room is the basement. Honestly, this might be my favorite one. It's sort of an ultimate sleepover basement. I loved having sleepovers as a kid with my best friends. I'm sure many other people did too. There's just something about a sleepover that's so fun. So you've got TV, you've got video games, you've got snacks, you've got like a comfy couch. And then over on the right side is where you have all your sleeping bags laid out, and you got, you know, you're in the middle of a board game and you've got cookies on the floor. There's just something about it being in the basement too. It feels like you've got your own private space away from like your parents, and you can just have like the most fun time with your friends. So I loved creating this space. I feel like it's just like the perfect sleepover zone. All right, and that brings us to the end of the tour. So I'll just post up here to say goodbye. Actually, we're gonna just double check that I got everything on the map. Yes, I did. Okay, so now we'll say goodbye. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I make these islands because I love playing Animal Crossing, but it is also really fun to share all my content. So if you like it, let me know, and thank you so much again for stopping by.